Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Real Wisdom Artificial Intelligence. So, today is Feb 25th. Let's go ahead get started for today. Today's dose of RASHMI is unconscious intelligence normalizes life to be a game where you have to grit and fight out in the face of hardships. Wisdom Wisdom, on the other hand, is the realization that the most significant part of being alive are your body, mind, emotions, and energy, and focuses on aligning those and working towards that. So it is interesting. A couple of things have happened over the last few days that directly feed into this dose of Rashmi. And as I reflected through my morning practice and arrived at this, one is there's a recent report, very well done report around the AI future modeling, and it's called the Global Intelligence Crisis by Citrini Research. And the model is very capital market focused model, and it models out a scenario where as the friction disappears from the tech and the AI as a tool is used to eliminate the friction in the tech sector, that ends up removing practically most jobs as we know them. And that's a fair point. If you really think about it, most jobs as we know them exists to remove friction. This has been historically true through not just the technology revolution, it has been true through the industrial revolution, the various phases. As we developed any new technology, in the beginning, the technology came with friction, and we invented jobs which were focused on removing the friction from that particular technology use. As the technology matured, it became a commodity. Those jobs disappeared, and those were replaced by the next generation of jobs as the new technology evolved. Now, AI offers an inflection point where AI can optimize its own friction if it does generate a lot of friction. However, it can optimize its own friction better than most humans would be able to do. You can train AI to recognize the friction points, and it can eventually just eliminate all that friction. The friction in historical senses and most of the technological systems came about when the technology had to interwork with humans. And in this case, if AI systems are automated agents working by themselves, there ideally could be a friction-free environment if it plays out that way. That is the scenario that Citrini has modeled. And that then spells out kind of a doom and gloom as far as the idea of jobs is concerned. The other point related to this dose of insight and how I arrived on today's dose of Rashmi was a podcast that I was listening to recently where the person on the podcast made an interesting observation about they were discussing the point about what is the worst career advice that they have got, and they named the worst career advice that they've got is follow your passion. And their point was monetize your misery is the best career advice. All jobs exist because you monetize your misery. This is what the modern society has normalized, that work is supposed to be something that is making you miserable. And then we go and seek work-life balance as if we are not alive when we are working. That is the biggest paradox, and it has been normalized in the modern society because the entire idea of jobs as they have existed for a while have all been about removing friction. And when you're working on removing friction, it leads to soul-sucking work, which is miserable, and monetizing your misery becomes a very sound career advice. However, it doesn't have to be this way. Before any of these industrial revolutions came about, and as everybody lived in the society, most people were truly entrepreneurs, and they were doing what kept them joyful. And as the industrial revolutions have come about, the idea of jobs and jobs centered around removing the friction from each of the phases of technology has taken center stage, and that has become our idea. Yes, it has led to massive economic growth. At the same time, it has led to a crisis where we have a work personality, and then we pretty much spend our entire lives working so that we can live at some point. And most of us end up realizing when it's too late in life that we've wasted our life just trying to work towards something and we never really lived. And that is where, if we truly develop AI as a shared global infrastructure that is friction free, so we do not have to do jobs to remove that friction, we can truly use the shared infrastructure to work towards jobs which drive end human and planet centric value. That is what I am modeling now, updating my race to conscious grid scenario to go from a friction economy to outcome based regenerative economy. And I am very excited about that. That is the essence of today's dose of Rashmi, and that is the essence of what I've been calling as this Rashmi journey, the journey from intelligence to consciousness. Thank you.